walls where the whispers gather. Conservative minds debate the future. From tax cuts to border walls, strategies clash like a political rally. Frustration brews in the chambers. As always, meet new challenges. Dissenting voices rise up, seeking unity, but finding divides. We stand strong, we stand tall. In this party, our spirit will not fall. The path is rocky and long. We march forward with hearts full of song. Policies debated, votes cast. In the shadows, some doubts are fast.
All right.
Yes. And you get a bonus Rebel Republic, everyone, because of all our amazing fans gave us thousands upon thousands of views. So we are giving back to you the Rebel Republic. Congratulations. And there's a lot going on. So we just felt like we needed to go over some of it to help make sense of it for everyone, because we're trying to change minds one episode at a time.
And to discuss issues that are really in a rapidly changing and political environment in America. No matter what side you're on, obviously I'm more conservative, but it's issues that you want to know about. So before we even go into that, I wanted to just tell you that song we played called Rebel Republic by my fantastic band called Free Republic that makes all this wonderful music. That song has been played on Spotify in the last week 123 times. It's growing.
So do you write the lyrics that you want, and then they put it together and then create the song? Is that how it's done?
I give the ideas, then I get what they give, and then I kind of adjust it.
Okay.
Some things don't make sense if you notice sometimes.
Yeah. Because some
AI is not perfect, and then they don't always give me the music I like. So I'd say, okay, change this style a little bit, change this. This song happened to work out pretty good.
No, everyone loves the Rebel song.
The Rebel song. It's kind of like a mix between Metallica and more like pop, not pop rock, but like rock, but like like that 2000s rock. You know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking like Nirvana?
No, not Nirvana. No,
I would like Nickelback.
Nickelback. It's like a mix between that song. To me, a little bit of like Metallica edge with like a Nickelback like voice over.
I got you. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it sounds like it's gonna come in mega hard, but then it kind of like Nickelbacks you a little bit.
It does. It does. So this was huge. The Supreme Court granted a partial stay Friday of President Trump's request to block lower courts from issuing universal injunctions, handed a partial victory to the administration as it looks to execute many of its top priorities via executive order and action, because that's what he's been doing. He's been writing a ton of executive orders, and that's like his power over everything. He can just write an executive order. And they ruled 6-3 to allow lower courts to issue these injunctions in certain cases. But the ruling leaves open the question of how it will apply to the birthright citizenship order in question. So that's where I'm kind of confused about. What is his purpose of this executive order with applying to the birthright of citizenship? Like if you're born in this country, your citizenship can be challenged?
I think that if you were of a family that was, let me read it to you and make it,
Yeah.
and then we can go from there. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah, I see it. Yep. Go ahead.
I'll read it real quick, just and then we can.
Yeah.
He signed Executive Order 14160, titled "Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship." It directs federal agencies to deny U.S. citizenship at birth to children born on U.S. soil in the following cases. One, if the mother was unlawfully present in U.S. and father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of birth. So essentially, both people were illegal, and the child was born here. So that's the Dreamers. If you remember the Dreamers.
That makes sense though, because that's what so many people were trying to do. They would try to come here, get pregnant, so their child would be an American citizen.
Right. So that was the
that was their goal.
thing. The second one was if the mother was lawfully but temporarily present, meaning like student visa or tourist visa, and the father was not a citizen. So an illegal father, essentially, right, and a mother who was here as a student, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But obviously not. So similar, but they were legally there. It was stipulated that it would apply for anyone born 30 days after it was issued or on or before February 19, 2025. So it stipulates that the order would apply to anyone born 30 days after it was issued. So this would be this was going forward. So basically, as of February 19th, 2025.
Correct.
So this had zero. So this is one of the things that people, and then I'll read a couple of the other things real quick just to kind of touch on it. But so this is where some of the leftist people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in that
they're going nuts.
They try to say it's applying to people that are currently here that are no, this applies to people going forward, if that makes sense. So babies basically, you could be pregnant, I guess, right? You already could be pregnant and you were thinking you're gonna be legal, but you're not, right? So but it was going forward. So it wasn't like attacking anyone who was from the past, but it was taking on any dreamers going forward. And I think that is a pretty good order because we don't want to get in a situation where people are just coming across the border, get pregnant, we don't get them out of the country for whatever reason, and then they have a child, and now we're in this quandary of breaking up families. So that's my 2 cents on it, but I'll read the challenges. Okay, so almost immediately, several federal judges, blah blah blah, across nation, most cited the 14th Amendment and 1898 case, which is what you talked about. The United States versus Wong Kim Ark, all intervened prior to the further rollout. Okay, so now what happened in the Supreme Court? Today, I guess the final. It was. U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the lower federal courts have overstepped by issuing nationwide injunctions, which had broadly halted the enforcement of the order. The court did not rule on whether the executive order is constitutional, only on whether lower courts could block it nationwide. So eventually, I think it's going to come up to the Supreme Court, and they're going to rule whether his executive order is going to be constitutional or not. But right now, it's basically saying that you can't. The lower courts can't block it.
Right.
Limited injunction.
But that's what people were saying, like how the Islam people would go to different cities, procreate, and then like the New York mayor guy who's running is Iranian or whatever that can get into power. That's how they get into power.
I feel like he's originally from an African country, I thought. And then it's what is it? Zohan, I think. You ever see the movie Don't Mess with the Zohan?
Of course.
So I keep thinking his name is Zoran, not Zohan. Origin. Let's see if we get this right here.
But that's what they're trying to prevent.
Zoran Mamdani. He was born in Uganda, moved to New York at age 7. Born in Uganda, moved to Cape Town, South Africa, then New York City at 7. His father is a Ugandan Indian academic of Gujarati Shiite, of course, Shiite Muslim.
Yeah, I know they're the bad ones.
They're the more radical ones.
But I thought that if you weren't born in the States, that you couldn't run for office, period.
His mother is an Indian American filmmaker, Punjabi Hindu. Obviously, they're now Muslim. Became a naturalized citizen in 2018.
Okay. So, I mean, this is causing chaos left and right. The executive branch can now enforce policies that flout settled law and violate countless individuals' constitutional rights, and federal courts will be hamstrung to stop its actions fully until the day that every affected person manages to become party to a lawsuit and secures for himself injunctive relief. The government may act lawlessly indefinitely. Not even a decision from this court would solve the problem. That's what people are saying.
It is a temporary solution, because from an ICE standpoint, it allows them to continue to deport people that that are criminals, that have violated, those kind of things, without having people stuck in detention facilities.
Right.
Until they do end up, I'm sure eventually it'll get kicked up to the Supreme Court, and then they're going to have to rule. Then that'll be, what ends up happening at that point.
But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because the majority of people who come here, especially illegally, their purpose is to have a child, so they are an American citizen, so they can't be tossed up.
That's
what a lot of them want.
Yes, some. I think you have a mix of people you have different people here for different reasons. The issue is that no matter what reason they're here, whether they're here to work, make money, whether they're here to, do things the wrong way, there has to be a process for legal immigration.
Correct.
And I think the other issue that you have in America is conflicting value systems. So
big time.
Yes. So if what is America like? Do we want to be like Europe, being overrun by
That's what's happening.
In England, for example, you have I think it's like over 30 cities that are now have Islamic mayors that have some form of Sharia law. Now in America, the laws in America state that the government cannot be a religious-based government, right? Meaning that
Correct.
Like religious laws are not,
they don't apply. Yeah.
But you could argue that most of American values within the legal system come from
are come from religion.
The Judeo-Christian model, right? So
Yes.
it's the Judeo-Christian model, which for people who don't understand, that combines basically values from the Old Testament and values from the New Testament. Old Testament, which is mostly the Jewish people follow up the Old Testament, and then obviously Christians combine the Old Testament and the New Testament, but basically follows, apply the laws, a lot of it since Jesus Christ, right? So that's
Absolutely.
what you have in America, Judeo-Christian modeling system, but it's not baked into the laws, and that's the biggest difference between what we do versus other people. That even though the value system may be off the Judeo-Christian model, the laws are separated out, right? So you could argue that obviously stealing being illegal could be a similar law that you might see in the Ten Commandments, right? Thou shalt not steal, but it's not derived from the Bible. So the values. Now, the biggest issue that you have with stuff like Sharia law that's going in some towns in England is that law is religious law, and religious law is in those cases is following what the Quran and interpretation of the Quran is, and that's an issue in the United States. That's an issue going for the United States. So that brings to the whole.
Well, there's supposed to be the separation of church and state, correct?
Right. As far as from a law standpoint, yes. So even though I'm a born-again Christian, the laws should not, for example, should not be, if you're not a born-again Christian, you should not be able to own property. Okay. That would be conflating religious, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're not a believer in Jesus Christ, so you should not, that's where you start to have problems when you have religious law, right? So
yes, exactly.
And that's the biggest issue. So no matter in America, no matter what people believe, whether they're Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, believe in Islam, they can own property. No matter what they are, they can vote no matter what they are. They can. Right. Doesn't matter who you are. That is the most important thing in the American system, in my opinion.
The American dream. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and that's necessary.
And that's the issue. So the issue is not that like I'm per se against someone that is Islam. I could care less what your religious viewpoint is. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to agree with me religiously. Is that when you start to conflate those laws and saying if they are not this, they cannot do that, right? Or if you're a white person, you cannot own this because you have privilege, or that's where you start to have problems. And and the problem with the democratic socialists with like first of all, the fact that 24 years after 9/11, America could vote could possibly the favorite to be mayor in New York City could be a person who has gone on the record that is anti-Israel, that is for defunding the police, that is for letting criminals out of prison, that is for Islamic law. I mean, that is craziness.
Yeah.
That I mean, New York City is so far fucking gone. The Democrats, at least, which is the majority of people, obviously, in New York City, are going to be Democrats. They're so far fucking gone. It's unbelievable, and it's lunacy. They don't want, they want to tax every rich person much more. Of course, and then they want to tax they're going to tax everybody. The bottom line, when they say they tax rich, it means they're going to tax everyone because rich people don't care. They hide their money. They
launder their money.
Exactly. Like,
they launder their money.
That's the great trick of it all. They just launder it. And if they don't want to be, if they don't like it, they'll just leave. They have the money to leave. What about the middle class people that can't just leave? You know what I mean? What happens to them? And they want, and he also believes in distribution of wealth, redistribution of wealth. So taking from this person and giving to that person.
Communism, yeah.
That's communism, right? And you know what's funny? You've been saying this.
I have been.
Frank has been a pushback. I would love to have Frank on because he's probably working right now. But Frank should do a pop-in of this. By the way, that's disgusting watching you grab the whipped cream out of that. I think
it's his busy time. Yeah, I know.
I just threw up in my mouth. But yes, what I was going to say is that Frank has been saying, the socialists are not. You know what the socialists basically are? And you're actually, if you were doing it tongue in cheek, kind of a little bit.
No,
but,
I'm not.
But the truth is, it is communism. They're making the move to communism. It's not socialism. Even though socialism sucks, it is a move towards communism. It's taking people that don't do things the way you want them to, and putting them in a bad situation. I mean, communism and socialism. In Russia. Killed 60 to 100 million people in the 20th century. China, 100 million.
Yeah.
Communism is killed.
All I read is that the far left and our Democrats have turned into communists. They're so far left. There's nobody that's reasonable. There's nobody that's in the middle. That anyone who is part of the left is a communist. They just want
the crazy part. Want to hear the crazy part about the New York City thing?
More money and
yes. But remind me that I wanted to bring up something crazy. But I'll bring that up and then I want to talk about this. So here's the crazy part. Okay, obviously there's a lot of Jewish people that live in New York City.
Of course.
And probably the majority of them are Democrat. They voted for Maman, whatever his name is, Mumandi. They voted for him. Yeah.
That is crazy. That I would have never expected.
So that's voting for your own demise. There's a good percentage that voted. Okay. So that part tells you how the ideology of the left is it's so crazy.
That's way too skewed.
People are voting like women are voting for their own demise. The number one portion of people that are on the far left, white affluent women,
which is crazy because they're the ones who would be punished the most.
They're going to be wearing. This is what you're going to be wearing. This is where you'll see out of. This is your peripheral vision under Islamic law. There it is.
You'll just see their eyes. Yeah, they'll be drabs. Yeah, that's it.
And the truth is, Arabic women are among the most beautiful women in the world.
They are. You never know.
No, you don't even. But they are. They are, right? But you don't even know. You don't even know.
You would have no idea because
that's
you never.
What you be doing all day.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And the other thing that I saw that I had wanted to ask you about, there was the uncovering of the massive bribery scandal that USADA had, and now they're ordering a full audit of government contracting officers who have exercised grant awarded authority under the agency's business development program over the last 15 years. So this is 15 years.
It was like 500 million or something, right? It's something crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just in this country that could just disappear, or either be oversight on what it's used for, or it could be disguised as what it's being going towards. And that amount of money just was gone. And I'm sorry, it's USAID. USAID was the one.
USA, USA.
USA did all this, and Doge was the one that Elon Musk took control and went under and found all this and made those cuts. But USAID, the fact that they would impoverish, harm recipients across the globe is sickening to me.
It's sickening
because that their sole purpose was to help everyone in the world.
That shows you what. That's why you don't give the government control on a large scale. So this goes to the whole point of communism. So I saw a great image. Let me see if I can find it. It was a great image. Oh God, it was. I wonder if I love X, but once I view something and I click on it, I can never see it again for some reason. Like if I don't see
because it moves down on your home screen because everyone.
It's a little annoying.
It drives me nuts too because so many people post on X when you're on your home screen. If you wait 2 minutes, there's 5,000 other posts.
No, you're right. And sometimes, like, you come across a great post and you want to, like, I guess you could save it, but you're really not thinking about it like that.
No.
Believe it or not, I can't. Okay. So I thought this was great. You
just have to scroll down to find it. Yeah.
Well, I had to type in something, but you're 100% right. X is crazy, by the way. The people down there are crazy.
Oh,
there's a lot of good stuff. It's awful. All right. So I thought this was a really good cartoon.
So toxic. Yep.
So this is what we live under. And this is what citizens live.
That is funny.
Because the government controls the money, so the people in charge of the government get.
They got the barbed wire fence.
Yeah, they're not.
They got the tent city. That is true.
That's as true as it comes. So it's crazy.
True. That's 100%. That is 110% true, and it's just sad because I do believe that Trump is doing everything he can to. I mean, he's really like there was a ditch that was dug 20 feet under, and he's trying to fill in this ditch that Joe Biden created of just a mess. And he's just trying to fill it in to get it back to normal. And it's been a battle every step of the way because of the job that Biden did or didn't do.
No, you're right. And you know what's crazy? What's crazy is even crazier is like with the New York City thing. First of all, I'm just flabbergasted by
I am too.
That 20 years, like how much has the world changed in 20 years, dude? Like,
I would be like every victim of 9/11, I would be protesting on the streets with signs of my loved one who died in the crash, and I would just say, "Really?"
There's so much stuff on. Yeah. There's so much stuff on Momandi. I'm gonna play some of it just so you can see how crazy some of this stuff is. Like that Momandi's talking about. Like it is. Like there's endless stuff.
Is he highly educated? Is there something? Is he charismatic? Is there anything about him?
One was a professor, I think.
Okay.
He's definitely educated, of course. Yeah, indoctrinated. Here, listen, you gotta listen to it.
He wants to sterilize.
$65 million in funding for gender-affirming care. The same amount of funding the federal government from local providers for that kind of work. And in this moment especially, if we want to fight the Trump administration, we have to do so by fully funding our own services, taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers and corporations here.
Spent $65 million.
He looks so young too.
And one of the things that we've said beyond saying,
let me get at this. He wants to spend
But-
65 million on child sex changes.
But you and Frank had both said that Cuomo would probably win.
I thought he would. It was an upset. That's also what's so crazy.
This guy
to
could
me.
come back and win.
Who he won the Democratic nominee. The Cuomo didn't win it.
Oh,
You know?
okay. All right. I missed that part. Okay. So he won the Democratic nominee.
Yes.
And
he beat
so
Cuomo. He beat Cuomo.
So he's basically going to be mayor. Because New
That's
York's
basically so Adams is running as an independent because because the Democrats are mad at him for backing Trump on some of these things. So he's going to run as an independent, and then Curtis Sliwa, I don't know if you know him, who he is, but he's most well known for being the guardian part of the head of the Guardian Angels. So it's
the guardian angels, the good ones, the ones that used to like rescue children. Okay.
They would they're kind of like vigilantes in New York City,
yes. They would do good deeds.
Right, they're trying to stop. Like for example, if people harassing, I don't know, let's say people on the subways, they used to, like in the 80s, and they're not as big anymore. But in the 80s, 90s, they used to.
They were huge. Yes.
Yeah, they would be there. Something was happening. Yeah. So Curtis Sliwa is the head and the starter of the Guardian Angel. So he's the Republican nominee. He's a Republican nominee.
Oh, okay.
The funny thing about did you hear what
does he have a chance?
So I don't think Republicans have a chance in New York City.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I agree.
Adams is running as an independent. He's running as a Republican. They're probably going to take each other's votes.
They're going to split the vote. Yeah.
Which is going to make Mumadi definitely get in.
That's scary.
Listen, he said so many things. Like, he said that he would arrest if Bibi Netanyahu stepped foot in New York City, he would have him arrested. Fucking nonsense.
But all right. So this guy, the mayor it's a 6-year term, correct? Or no, the governor's a 6-year term. I'm sorry. The mayor's a 4-year term. Is this a guy who is looking to move up the ranks? Would he become a senator?
I would say yes, but he's a natural license. Yes, can't be president. But
correct.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure.
And he's got a good amount of financing behind him, correct?
I would guess he probably does. Yeah.
He has to. God.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a very, very
it's a touchy situation. Because I was thinking about the governor's
from New York. Remember that movie with
Yes, I do.
Great movie. Remember Escape from New York? That was a great movie.
Yes, I do.
That was a 70s movie, right? That was even before my time, I think. But everyone's seen it.
New York. I was thinking about the governor's race because I don't really like Hochul.
Right. Who's she running against?
I don't know. I know Zeldin got a lot more votes the first time around and, gave her a better challenge. But my whole thing is, and I argue with my father about this all the time, if Cuomo didn't, hug and touch people, he would have won re-election and he would have been presidential candidate, wouldn't he have?
Probably, yeah.
At some point. Yeah. Hochul wasn't even in the conversation for mayor, was she?
Who was it?
Hochul. I don't believe she was even in the conversation for governor. I'm sorry, for governor.
No, she was his attorney general, I think.
She was the AG. Yeah. That's what is so surprising to me is so she steps in, she wins the re-election, and now another election is coming up, and she's going to have a chance to win again. And I just keep thinking, like, wow, if Cuomo just wasn't as handsy hugging people, none of this would have ever happened. Hochul wouldn't have been thought of for governor. And I mean, I don't think
Cuomo got too big of an ego.
Listen, all right, I'm not condoning what he did. I'm condoning that he's Italian, and Italians can tend to be a little too handsy with the hugging and the kissing and the groping. And
I agree with you. Yeah,
we do. We're a little too affectionate. Cuomo was a little too affectionate with the young women.
Maybe he was throwing his game out there a little bit, trying to see what he can get.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? I also wanted to point out, a year ago on Friday, Joe Biden took the debate stage against presidential candidate Trump and drove one of the final nails in his re-election campaign's coffin as traditional allies turned their backs on the 46th president and subsequently rallied to replace him as the front runner against Trump. Now, I went back 2 nights ago because I never watched I didn't watch the debate, and I actually watched the debate. And like, if I was working for Biden, I probably would have stopped it. I would have ran on stage and said, okay, that's it, we're done. I would have ended it. I could not believe how bad he was. I couldn't believe, like, he just like said the word Medicare out of nowhere. He couldn't put sentences together. He screwed up names. He blatantly made up facts as numbers that weren't true. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I didn't know the debate was as bad as it was. I just heard what happened afterwards. I was just curious, did you actually watch the debate as it happened?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. You talk about Biden and Trump?
Yeah.
I watched every stuff after.
Okay. So you did watch it after.
Yeah.
Did you, to me, it was one of the most embarrassing, humiliating things I've ever seen in my life.
It was humiliating. Yeah.
Like, I can't believe they allowed it to happen. I mean, just what were your thoughts on it? I was scared.
From a while ago? So
yeah, the one from last year. It's a year to the day of when they had the debate. So that's why I'm asking.
I really don't care.
You really don't care. I guess it doesn't matter. But it's just amazing.
Yeah, I feel, but listen, they tried to keep propping Biden up. It was a shame.
That's really what they wanted to do.
But the bottom line is this: they got Trump in. So
yes.
I really don't care.
They legitimately said, though, that they were going to prop him up for 4 years, have him appear every now and then to show he was alive, and that was it.
I believe it.
Right. All right. Go back to what you were going to say.
Oh, I know. I truly believe that is what you're saying is.
that was their plan.
I believe that, which is.
So what were you going to say?
What I was going to say was I'm going to play something here, but there's a whole shit. That's what I get for clicking tabs. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So watch this. This is going back to a little bit of New York City stuff. The New York City thing is mind-boggling to me because I lived through 9/11. A lot of people that I knew that. Like I don't know. You know what it is? If you were born in 2000, okay, you'd be 25 years old. And if you were born in even just 5 years early, 1995, you're only 6 years old when that happened. To you, it doesn't seem real. Think about things that happened when you were still so a 30-year-old, to them, a 9/11 is not like, it's like a thing you see on TV. That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, I was watching Alf when I was 6 years old.
What's that?
I was watching Alf when I was 6 years old.
Right. Sadly, that means I'm older, and I was already a teenager when I was watching Alf. But I did, because I did watch Alf too. But at 6 years old, I'm trying to think of a historic event. Okay, I'll use a good example. When I was 6 years old, the night we didn't go to the Summer Olympics. We did play in the
when we protested, right?
Right. When I was 6 years old, the United States was in the Winter Olympics. Was when the hockey team won. Honestly, I'm sure we watched it. I don't remember a damn thing.
Right.
The only reason I know about it is from a few years after, as it became 8, 9, and 10, when I started to remember things. I've seen it on TV so many times.
It was historic, right?
But it was historic. But as far as like, and
registering,
was one of my favorite movies, but I don't really remember it. So if you're a 30-year-old or 31-year-old, right after your generation, really the next generation after you, Steve, it's really, for you, it was obviously you were in college.
Yeah.
Right. You were in college, right? I think.
Yeah, I slept right through it.
Yeah. You were in college, slept right through it. And then
I really did. It's funny, but it's not funny.
Listen, my cousin I think she's a liberal, but she was in the building and she escaped like a minute before it came down.
Oh my God.
Yep. She worked in that building. My client was Cantor Fitzgerald. A lot of those people, obviously,
That's right. You were there. That's right.
I wasn't there during 9/11, but a client I had for, that was Cantor Fitzgerald, which obviously, and then you got, and then I remember, like, I was working at the time. I was working about 25 blocks away from there. I didn't go in that morning.
Oh, you were that close?
I was working. Yeah, I had because I was working for a different company at the time. We had an office in there, and I was about 25 blocks from there. So, but I wasn't there that morning. I was working from home. So, my buddy called me and told me, look out. He's like, "Oh, put your TV on." Like, huh? And then I saw like the one building, and then I was living in Lyndhurst, New Jersey at the time, and I walked. Lyndhurst is right across the water from New York City, and I walked to the top of the hill and I could see everything. So, which was crazy.
God. You saw it. You visually
saw it
happen
visually. Yeah. You walked to the top of the hill of Lyndhurst. Like where I lived was the bottom of a hill. Lyndhurst was like is right on. It's right next to Secaucus. It's right along the water there. So it's I went to the top of the hill where you could see it.
Was there a crowd there?
Oh, there wasn't a crowd. No. I walked by myself. There was no crowd at the top of the hill. Maybe there was. And I'm trying to think. Right? Maybe there's another person or two, a couple of people. But but it wasn't on the water. But from where that vantage point was, you could see. So, which was crazy. And then, anyway, so let's play this. This was on the Breakfast Club. This was,
Jesus, he's really working the media.
Well, how do you think
when was the primary vote?
it was just this week?
Oh, okay. So it must have been right
Tuesday, probably Tuesday.
Oh, it was right after the show. Okay. Wow. Did he win by a lot?
Is that we raised?
I feel like he won by like 10 points. He won by a good amount. All right, I'll play this for you. Hold on. Let's
proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% taxing. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
So let's take money from, so 50 Cent, and this is why I brought it up. 50 Cent offered to pay Mumandi $238,000 if he would just leave New York. Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, he's charismatic. He's well-spoken. He smiles. He's a good-looking dude. I mean,
you haven't seen Mumandi's different accents that he uses. So
no,
he's a fraud.
No, he doesn't. Depending like where he is in the city, he can pull off the different accents.
All right, here we go. Dude, I've got this fucking scammer. I know a scammer when I see one. I've been around a long time.
I know.
And I'm from northern New Jersey. Lots of scams going on there. All right,
oh my God.
All right, here we go. So this is from Charlie Kirk. So they'll probably all say, "Oh, it's a conservative guy saying it," but this is it. Here we go.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life.
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here in New York City, this is how I speak. The New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with.
He is a scammer.
No, he's taking lessons to get rid of his accent. He had a really thick fucking accent. That's a really thick accent he had that he was able to get rid of. He Americanized himself specifically for this.
Correct.
That's fucking scary. So he becomes mayor.
You know what he's like? So
what
there's
can he do?
Well, he can do whatever.
The
New York
tax
City,
thing, he can do a lot.
New York City, he could do a lot. I mean, outside of New York City. But if you think about it corporate-wise, I mean, listen, for other states, he wants to do all this shit. You're going to see businesses move out of that area. But, you're going to see more money leave it than anything. But it's outside of New York City. No, but remember, New York City is one of the biggest cities in the world.
It's the largest.
What happens in New York City would echoes throughout everyone. Right. So
how long was it been known that he's been running for? Has it been known for like years that he's been running?
I don't know that. I don't know that answer. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's an AOC, and him are like they're connected. Yeah.
Oh
They're all
God.
part of the same clique. It's the same clique.
Well, because I mean, wouldn't you say the mayor of New York City has the second most power in New York State altogether? I mean, obviously the senators and congressmen, but I mean, the mayor of New York City carries a lot of weight.
I'm watching these accent videos. It's beyond funny, dude. It's scary though. What was I gonna say about? There's one other thing I wanted to bring up about it. That's
the accent. The accent I can't get over.
I mean, some of it was less than 5 years ago.
That blows me away.
Yeah, I agree. I think he did specifically train himself.
He went to a speech pathologist.
He's an actor. Don't you notice? Like that's one of the interesting things. Like
he's charismatic, 100%.
You actors know how to change their.
He can change his character on a whim.
There's a famous rapper that's a white guy from England who's a rapper, not a rapper. I'm sorry. A reggae, a singer,
a white reggae guy.
Yes, his name is M. Dot. Okay,
I gotta watch that.
Yes, yeah. Look it up. So M. Dot is from England and adopted a Jamaican accent, and he's one of the most popular like reggae whatever now. And what's interesting about it is he talks about how he has specifically learned to adopt all this stuff so he could be a better reggae singer. So it was intentional. He was not born, obviously he was English. He has an English accent. Yeah. And but what is interesting to me is like in the culture of like what I grew up in the 90s and the 80s, and you grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, right? Like that would have been like kind of like frowned upon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're a poser. That's the word.
Yeah, a poser. That's what we would call you.
The people in the 30s now, the generation right behind you, you know what I mean? Because you're on the border. Yeah. Oh, no, you're a millennial. You're a millennial, right? So the generation right behind you,
the Gen Zs or whatever,
they don't care about that because they are born online, right? So they all are adopting characters to present.
They're all AI avatars.
They're presenting themselves however they want to present themselves, right? They all have TikToks. They all have, what we're on, and they adopt an image of who they want to present themselves at, just like the girls do on Instagram or a guy who's like a workout guy on Instagram. They all like project the image of what they want you to believe them to be. And so a lot of it is purposely posing. You know what I'm saying? Purposely posing. So
you're right.
It's creating an authenticity.
They get beat up for doing that.
It's an image. They're creating a character.
Yeah, 100% they are. It's like Borat.
Borat. Right. So Borat, you used to create characters, you would create characters in comedy that kind of poke fun of yourself.
Yeah.
But now they're creating characters of who they want to be, which is very, very dangerous in that you could project one. If you speak really well, I call it like if Obama was a great speaker, right? If someone like Obama gets up there, half the people are just captivated by how well he speaks.
Yeah.
And how well he presents himself. Absolutely. And they're voting on that. They're not even listening. He could be like,
what he says.
I'm going to come into every room and kill every one of you people because I love you. And they'll be like,
yeah. Absolutely.
Because they speak up. Like they're fooled by that stuff.
What's crazy to me is it seems like we've been doing this show for almost a year. I've never heard of this guy. It seems like he came out of nowhere, wins the Democratic primary, and is going to be mayor of New York.
Probably, yeah.
And like,
it's not over. They're fighting. Like if you heard, I should play with Adams.
Does Adams have a chance?
Adams is fighting back. Sliwa always does. That's just how he's been fighting his whole life. But Mayor Adams, there's a lot of things that Mayor Adams does that I don't agree with, but Mayor Adams is 10,000 times better. So let me see if I can find I want to see if this is the speech. This is it, I think. Okay. I mean, Adams is fighting, which I give him credit. I'm glad. Listen, Adams says, whether you like Adams or not, I feel like he's kind of like, I think he messes up on a lot of things, but he kind of, he's going to do what he thinks he should do, whether you like it or not. And he's definitely going to be better than well, let's play this.
Let me tell you something. This is a city not of socialism. No. I've been to socialist countries. This is a city where you come as a dishwasher and you can own the restaurants. This is a city where you can be a cab driver and then become a doctor. This is a city where you could go from homelessness to building housing. This is a city where you could be a young person who's dyslexic, a young person who was rejected, and eventually be elected mayor of the city of New York. This is the type of city we're in. This is not a city where you use idealism to state you're giving everything to everyone for free. There's no dignity in giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up. We're going to lift up the city of New York.
I like it. I like it. I like that.
So I mean, that's Adam. Obviously, I think he thought he was going to be running against Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa, and could kind of go on his. He's a long shot now because so many Democrats have turned on him, and he was obviously originally the Democrat nominee. You know why he turned on him? Because Trump kind of supported him. Yeah,
I know.
So that's how deranged they are for Trump. That they like. It's crazy.
They do anything to hurt Trump, but that's just that's just scary. That's absolutely insane. And I liked everything that he said. And the Islam guy is right. It just sounds like we're going to tax the rich, we're going to hand everyone money, and everyone's going to be happy. They're going to get jobs and opportunities, and it's just going to be handed to them.
Yeah, and that's what. Islam guy, but yeah, I think that's what it is going on.
And he uses fake accent, and the fake accents is great.
Yeah, there's a couple other ones that are.
He's going to speech therapy to lose his accent to sound more Americanized.
Right, so he could then implement values that are not American.
Does he have
the interesting thing?
No, I know. Is he married? Do you know if he has kids?
I don't know. He's young. I want to say
he's very young.
He's young.
That's why I gotta run for office somewhere. I gotta find somewhere where I can run.
Why don't you just run where you are?
Well, I'd probably lose, but I just got to get.
I'm telling you, the people that win now, this is not like.
Yeah, it's just being a character. It's just being. A character.
This is not like how it was, where like because the way you think about it is okay. Like your dad is a lawyer, right?
He's the town lawyer, yeah.
Right. Well, so guys like in the past, there was a guy like him becomes a lawyer, decides he wants, because he knows the legal system, wants to run for office.
He didn't even want to run for office.
No, I'm saying in the past, but I'm saying as you go up the higher, like most people were lawyers. You know what I'm saying? They understood the legal.
Yeah.
These people are not lawyers. These people are not they don't understand the legal system. They just have ideas.
They're lucky that they had their GED.
I'm curious what his where he went to college. He's a member of the New York State Assembly currently.
Okay.
In Queens. He is 33.
33. Jesus, he's a baby.
His father is a professor at Columbia. Shocking. Of course. So he probably went to, where did he go to school? He went to Bowdoin, of course.
Oh, Bowdoin. Oh, my friend probably knows him then. My friend went to Bowdoin.
He went to Bowdoin. Like, dude, these Northeast schools, high education schools are like, they're just like breeding grounds for these things. Like, I mean,
can't be any more liberal than that.
But the only thing that could be more liberal would be if you went to like Middlebury, Swarthmore or
Williams.
Williams
or Amherst.
Those are your big three right there. That's right up there, though. That's right up there.
All right. Well,
definitely. What was that conference? Also, is Trinity in that conference in Connecticut?
Yeah, the NESCAC, the Nescafe.
Wesleyan, are they in that conference?
Yep. Greatest conference in the world.
It's actually a good football. Is it Hamilton in that too?
I call it Division 4. It's horrible football.
Is it?
They can't complete a forward pass.
They can't really.
Ask Frank. Frank coached there for 2 years. He wanted to pull
Hamilton, right? He coached in Hamilton.
Yes, he wanted to pull.
I'm sure the kids were nice kids, though.
Well, of course, they're all nice kids, but nice kids you don't win with. That's the bottom line. It's great to have nice kids. All right, I gotta head.
Nasty SOBs like you and
I wasn't a nasty SOB. I just got in the way. I gotta head up to the old animal shelter. So wish me luck. This is a.
You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to go do an AI podcast right now.
Yes, do an AI podcast with me as AI. See how it comes out. So for a Banner Rebel Republic, Coach Schumann, Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at the Islam mayor.